Jacob. So
this dude showing up with a freaking 10
There's
ton.
so much, and even if we had more, I don't think it.
oh my god.
Vaughn getting just does a burn.
No, that is that
Oh,
Vaughn?
no, I like this.
You also have gigantic hands.
In that car right now. We didn't fly all the ways here to watch you walk around in a sling.
Look, the holidays are coming. I don't know which holiday it is. Could be Valentine's Day. Could be Arbor Day. Could be any day. Might be Black Friday. Might be Christmas. I have no idea when this ad is coming out. But what I do know is that you can use podcast 25 at checkout and save yourself 20%. So why haven't you done it yet? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Outerzone, the official podcast of Formula Drift. My name is Jacob Gettens, and today we got Mr. Noback on. I'm still shocked we don't have like a true nickname for you yet, considering your last name.
I mean, having a nick as a name, it's technically a nickname.
You are, damn, that went. How we've gone this long without me realizing that is actually kind of shocking. But what's up, dude? Do you how was the drive home? I know you rolled in like last night, right?
Yeah, I don't even remember what day it is.
It is Thursday.
I got home at 5:30 a.m. yesterday.
Holy shit! Okay.
I left LA at, was it like 10? About 10 Eastern.
Okay.
And slept. I drove until about 7 a.m. Texas time, so 8 a.m. the next day.
Yeah.
And then slept for 5 hours and hammered through and got home yesterday.
Damn. What's your rig setup right now? Like, I think your truck and trailer, enclosed trailer, but yeah.
Yeah, it needs an upgrade. It's
Okay.
I've got a 2018 F250 and a 40-foot gooseneck.
Okay.
So
Do you find you have any issues with the F250 and a 40-footer, or is it like it's all right?
It's getting there. I have to have things in a specific spot in the trailer, otherwise it's not happy. And I was getting some issues where I was getting stress cracks on the factory wheels.
Okay.
And I think I've resolved that, but I tried out Steelies for a bit, and because they were the OE Steelies, I thought, they'll be stronger, and they actually are a two-piece. So they were getting a pinhole crack at the weld, and then they would leak all the air out.
That's crazy. I wonder if you could have gotten like F350 OEM wheels or something like that, if that would fix it.
I've been thinking about different things to do. Ultimately I need to upgrade the truck, but
Yeah.
as a temporary fix, I've thought about, what would it be like to swap a dually axle onto the rear of it and, put the bed flares on it and convert it to a dually or something like that.
Oh, okay. So it's not a dually right now. It's just single.
It's a single, F250.
That explains it. Okay. That explains it.
I'm at the limits of what it's able to do.
Yeah. Especially if you're saying you're having to like stack things in particular spots to keep the tongue weight off.
Yeah. The airbags are definitely a necessity with something that big.
Damn.
Yeah. Other than that, it's great. I've got a 55-gallon fuel tank in it. I've got airbags, and apart from the wheel stuff, it does it like a dream. It has no issue pulling the weight.
The rig thing is something like we don't chat all that much about, but like it's one of those nobody talks about the rig unless it's a problem, right? Yeah. Like you never hear about someone's rig setup until there's like a blowout or like they get into an accident or something like that. Because I remember you dealing with the leaking, like the air leak issue. It was early this season that was going on?
It's happened all the way up until my way home from Utah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, that's wild. Is it it's not like a limited or anything like that? It's just
a platinum.
Okay.
We got it new, and now I actually hit 262,000 miles when it got home.
Jesus. Almost all towing.
Yeah, I think probably 230,000 of it is towing.
Okay. Any major like maintenance issues outside of that, or?
Honestly, no. It's been a pretty killer truck. It has had to have the ring and pinion replaced, but that was just because it got serviced at, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but it got serviced at a local Ford dealership. And I went to Seattle and home in 2022. And when I came home, it was making terrible noises, like grinding sounds. It was whining like crazy. And then, so I took it down to Ben Hobson's family dealership. They took care of it, got a whole new ring and pinion, sourced it, and it was finished the week before Irwindale that year. So,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. I was scrambling.
Yeah.
I was like, I hope I have a truck to be able to make it. And that's,
I feel-
that's the only downside.
Yeah, I feel like taking it to the Hobsons, though, like they would have given you something. Like there's no way another FD driver's vehicle was in there and you wouldn't have some way of getting to the event.
Yeah, no, they took good care of me. And
That's good.
I've been friends with them since we started Pro-Am together.
Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot it. I forgot you guys were in and around the same time.
Yeah, we both started Lone Star at the same event.
Damn, that's wild. It's weird. It's funny because you both drove Lone Star, but obviously both from Georgia. So for me, it's like kind of strange that you guys were traveling that far to go do Pro-Am.
Yeah. The initial reason was, Southeast Drift Union had a series 2017. So I was like, oh, I'll just do that. And then there was nothing for 2018.
Right.
And then I made the commitment to Lone Star for 2018. And then a week before I was leaving for my first Lone Star round, East 10 announced that they were an FD series.
You're like,
And then
sick.
I tried
Thanks,
to make
guys.
that line up. And at the time I was helping out on an FD team. So the first 3 rounds lined up with either another Lone Star round or an FD round. So I only made it to the last round, which is actually where Talaska and Brutski got their licenses at that,
interesting.
that event. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, it's I don't like who else is coming out of Texas right now? Like I haven't had my eye on that series in a while, but like I mean, the Lone Star series produced a lot of great drivers for a good chunk of time. So
Yeah. I mean, they're such good drivers out there, and
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is because of how hot it is, they didn't want to kind of force everyone into driver suits to deal with the heat. So that's
Okay.
kind of why they've become their own series and have an FD licensing event every so often.
interesting. I did not realize that. I mean, yeah, it's hot, but it's like yeah, because then you're basically asking Pro-Am drivers to put in cool suits at that point, right?
Yeah, it got to well over 120 degrees just being on open asphalt.
Yeah, I could see that. That's
That
tough,
was
but-
a time where a second radiator and a cool shirt were a very good investment.
Yeah, that fuck, dude. I can't imagine what that would be like in a car.
It was brutal.
Yeah, damn. How long did you run that series for?
I finished 4th in 2018, which was the first year in it, and then the year after I won it.
Oh, okay, got it. So 2019. Yeah, okay, that makes sense timeline wise. Huh. So why don't we get into this season? I mean, kind of an up and down one for you. Like had some pretty awesome highlights, and then obviously a couple of tough rounds as well.
Yeah, I think this year was a weird one because I feel like I did my best driving, but my results don't show it. And I feel like that's like that with a lot of people this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that one.
Didn't help that I got matched up in top 32 with people like Frederick and James more than once, but
Yeah, because you Osbo twice, and then James.
I had
James
Osbo 4 times this year.
Was it 4 times?
4 times. I had Atlanta, Orlando, Utah, and Long Beach too.
Jesus, that's brutal. That is brutal. Do you think, without taking away from your season at all, but like, do you think if we switch back to a qualifying setup, things like that would still happen?
Not nearly to the degree. I
Yeah.
mean, you'll have those matchups, but I don't see them happening
You don't see
frequently.
4 times.
Yeah, and if it is 4 times, it'll be spread across, maybe see him in the 8 or 16 instead of immediately in 32.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's kept track of that, but that would be an interesting stat to look at is like, has a situation like this happened to a driver before with the qualifying setup? Just to see. Because like, I don't know, I always try to look and be like, okay, is this actually a pattern or is it so random it becomes a pattern?
Yeah, I know Haitley has had OD, what was it, 6 or 7 times in 32 this year?
Wow.
Something crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm with James when he
back qualifying?
dropped the mic, bring back qualifying.
Okay, so with that argument in mind, it's been kind of like made clear that they don't want to do 2-run qualifying, right? Like, I think that's like the general sentiment is from FD side is like,
Yeah.
hey, we're open to this discussion, but what we're not open to is a proper 2-run qualifying. Given that, let's say you're the lead negotiator for FD, you've got to go in and FD says, we're not doing 2-run qualifying, but we're interested in other things. What would you propose as a better system?
I still don't get why we can't do 2 rounds, but
I think it's purely a time thing. I honestly do. I think it's purely a time thing. And like, we've had more maxed out practice this year than we've ever had.
I feel like with how efficiently things have been running with the minimalized crashes compared to previous years.
Yeah.
I feel like with some additional tools, we could knock out 2-run qualifying in less than 3 hours.
And now, is it, I don't know, is it a correlation or a causation thing where it's like, we're definitely faster this year. Like Chris Yule has done a phenomenal job at speeding things up. He's only gotten better this year.
Right.
Like he was really good last year. This year has been even better. I do agree. It feels like we've had less crashes this year. But then you go back and like look at like the big like we've had a couple really big ones. They've all been spectacular. But I also think the cleanup has gotten a lot faster too.
Yeah, that as well. And then if we weren't able to do 2-run, I mean, the knockout bottom 8 was, I feel like that worked all right. And then if time weren't an issue, maybe we could do something where basically the bottom 16 battle it out for the last runs. Everyone does 1 run.
Okay.
And then the bottom 16 do essentially a seating bracket for placement and the rest of it. I feel like that would probably be the most entertaining, but it would definitely take longer than 3 hours. Yeah,
I think we'd be over. I think if we did the bottom 8 would probably do it. The only way I could see bottom 16 is if there was no 1 more times and no 5-minute.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's the other thing what you could do with 2-run qualifying is you could say no 5-minute calls during 2 runs. You got a second run. Or yeah. I mean, that's not as big of a deal because you can kind of just jump into the next person. Yeah.
Right.
The other thing you could do is what Chris Knapp did up at the Gambler, where everyone gets 1 run, and if you want a second run, you sacrifice your 5-minute call.
Oh, yeah. That would be interesting. I'm not against that because then you're kind of saving time from one side to then put it somewhere else, right? Like you're potentially saving time in top 32 to then put it into qualifying to extend that. And then it's kind of unpredictable. Although realistically, anybody who's doesn't qualify would sacrifice that.
Yeah.
Right. So like in this case, it would only be 2 drivers.
Yeah. There's so many different ways we would be able to do things.
How would you feel about a jam session qualifying?
I'm not against it. We used to do that in East 10 when I ran there. It was pretty much you go out, do what you want to do in practice, and basically, okay, this dude's doing well, kind of line people up based on how they're doing. But then you kind of lose the specifics and the details on like, okay, well, why did that person get put up there or stuff like that? You would have to like judge it in real time. Like it would have to be, similar to like the jam session, skateboarding and things like that, where like you still have judges' scores coming up in real time after a run. But then it's like, to me, then they're not focusing on the next run, or they're just going to write down instinctually something, and then we're going to see a bunch of weird scores. Right. And then you got to pay attention to both cars since we're doing tandem practice. Yeah. So unless it's only lead.
But then if like the chase driver hits them, like I think it adds so many variables. Like unless you had two sets of judges, you wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, I think it could get out of hand pretty quick. It'd
It'd be a sick show though.
It'd be fun.
Yeah.
Because everyone would be going all out no matter what in practice.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. To me, one run and then your bottom 8 and whoever, like whatever slots are left, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if there's only one slot left, like if we have that many drivers, cool. Then the winner of it is the one who gets to go into the show. Because it's still, in my mind, it still does the thing we kind of want it to do, which is giving drivers some battle experience. Because like I would argue our rookies from this season, Jack not really included, did, because I mean he's a rookie by like, you know, status only, but like Tommy, Connor, and Austin all had phenomenal years considering they're rookies.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those guys, I mean, killed it this year. And then, yeah, it'd be tricky with, I just think I like to run the best because you know that if everyone is guaranteed 2 runs on one of those runs, everyone's going all out no matter what.
I wonder if a judging clock would fix some of it.
I don't know about a clock, but I know like there's the Kieran Hines keypad input that I think something maybe we could implement. The minus
system in like real time.
Yeah, just do deductions in real time, and then while everyone's watching the replay, you can, you know, be like, oh, it wasn't as bad there, and add a couple points back, stuff like that. Yeah. Or, you know, implement something like the Wally system, not necessarily as a pure item for judging, but to assist with, you know, oh, it looked like he was kind of close to dropping a tire there, and then the Wally verifies, yeah, he got, you know, or fell out of the zone. Like
purely for a verification standpoint, maybe not
a verification standpoint,
like,
or just an additional reference tool.
Yeah, yeah. I think you bring up a really good point with that. That I really like the Race Data Labs guys. I think the Wally system is great. I in my experience, I don't think it's quite at the point where we could trust the biggest series in the world to have that as a judge.
Right.
You know, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's very, very close to that, but what I would want it to do is to judge like at least an entire season behind the scenes and then overlay that with human data and see how close we are.
Yeah, I think that would be fair.
Yeah. Which, could happen soon.
I've used it at Clutch Kickers this year once, and it was pretty cool getting to, you know, watch their computer generated animation of the runs that we were doing and seeing how accurate it was and watching video side by side, and you can see the overlays and everything and the telemetry and all that stuff. It was pretty cool. Yeah,
I think the hardest part with any of it is like, how do you calculate style? Yeah. Like what's the mathematical equation of style?
Yeah, that you'll definitely always have to have a human for.
Yeah. We tried to break it down. Like Michael and I had probably like a 2-hour chat about it, of like trying to actually build an equation of what style would be. And it was something along the lines of like speed, rate of angle, a sustained angle, and like something else. And like we had built out this thing that would produce a score by the end of it. But even still, people were like immediately picking it apart. Like, well, what if you do this? Like, if you just come in hot to the entry, like, does that work? And then you're slow for the rest of it. And I'm like, dude, this thing just turned into a DOS box again. Yeah, like, that's basically all it is.
Or you do include like throttle input based on there, but then people are going to be doing stuff with the clutch to make it sound like you're make it sound like you're fully committed, but maybe you're not quite as committed as it sounds.
Yeah, I think rate to angle is probably your closest one, and then like a proximity bonus or something like that.
Yeah. I feel like it gets too complicated at that point. Yeah, exactly. I do think that if we ever brought it in as like its own judge, the complaints will be the exact same. Like, I don't think that they'll change people. Like, oh, this thing's stupid. It doesn't know what it's talking about. Like, who designed this thing? Like, the programming must be bad. Like, the same arguments about judges we made about the Wally system. Yeah, and I feel like no matter what, those are going to exist with a judge sport. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, people still bitch that like stopwatches and stuff aren't accurate. Like I've listened to people argue at drag strips and be like, that clock always runs slow, right? Like think like dynos, right? People are like, oh, is it a Mustang dyno or like what kind of dyno was it? Like those things read low, and it's like, and I'm sure someone's gonna be like, yeah, they actually do. Like here's the math to show you, but
Yeah, and then you can have two of the same dyno and they read completely differently because the calibration might be ever so slightly different between them.
yeah. Yeah, I remember hearing somebody like complain that like the left lane at this racetrack reads slower than the right lane. I'm like, okay, man. Like that was like the moment where I'm like, I've given up on technology being the end all be all. Like you can't.
5:32 p.m. The beam is getting hit by the sun, so we got to be in the right lane.
Yeah, exactly. It was like the Cletus thing. I don't know if you saw that, like the Cletus thing that blew up recently. Like some team didn't make their call to like battle them to do a drag racing event. So then they wanted to set like very specific standards if they were going to do it again. We're like, it's got to be like, we got to run at like 348 and like, I've got to take this lane. I was like, oh my God, guys. So I'm not into drag racing. Like this is just an oversimplification. Sure, other people are way more into it than I am, but
yeah, it's one of those. I think it's cool. I'm not super into it by any means.
Yeah, it's still sick. Like
if I'm at an event where they're doing drag racing, I'll watch.
Oh, 100%.
Like at LS Fest this year, I went up to hang out and ended up sitting there watching some drag racing. Saw a bunch of wheelies. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I did. I mean, you could be racing wheelbarrows, and I'll probably be there watching. Like, I don't care what kind of racing it is. Yeah. Like, there's a solid chance if it's nearby, I'll be sitting and watching. We were at the bar the other night, and tractor pulls were on, and I was just like, man, this is so sick. Like,
have you gotten to see some of those up close at all?
Yeah, dude, nuts.
Yeah, I saw a couple of them at PRI. They have like 5 big blocks attached to each other. It's insane. Yeah,
this crazy. I don't even know if you call it a transmission or union box or whatever the hell it's called.
It's
Yeah. And they're like blowing engines all the time.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like, where does that money come from? Like, is it all agriculture companies? Like, is Kubota just dumping money into these teams? And like, I don't know.
Wherever it is, I need to talk to them.
Yeah, you should. Maybe that's like the thing we're not looking at is like we got to go talk to tractor pull teams and be like, guys, how are you getting funding? Like, there's no way your farm is making this much money that you can afford to be putting these engines in all the time.
Yeah, because it's at least one of those big blocks is probably $100,000.
Yeah, so like
they have $1 million just in engines.
Yeah, $500,000 just in engines, not to mention the tires and whatever that union box is that puts them all together.
The rest of the drivetrain, the chassis,
I'm sure the drive shaft is like this big.
Yeah, and not very long. Just
no.
Yeah.
No, probably not. It's probably as long as it is. The circumference and the length are probably the same. But what was I going to say? Oh, we got way off topic. Not shocking at all. Yes, your season in general. You said you did your best driving, but were one of your worst results. Where do you feel like the best driving was? Like in practice, or just that you were stacked up against killers all the way through, so your best driving didn't show?
Yeah, I think just in general, like I felt like I was the most consistent I've been in the 4 years now that I've been doing this in pro. Being able to have close battles with James and Frederick and beating Frederick in Utah and yeah, just it was a mental challenge for sure with going, okay, just having the commitment, the attitude, the mental preparation, the car to be able to do it, and then not getting the results it's taxing.
Yeah. Where does that leave you, I guess, at the end of the season? Like, are you pretty good at kind of just shaking your head and being like, okay, like it's done. Let's figure out what's going to be next year?
I think so. Yeah. I was hoping, especially at Long Beach, to be able to do better. And, plug wires decided to throw a monkey wrench in things, and there's some little stuff like that throughout the year. Like we had a water pump failure in practice in Atlanta, so prior to seating I had one lap, and then just the 2 laps in seating. And then I had no practice ahead of time in the before battling Frederick. And then on top of that, it decided to rain, and then it stopped raining, and then it was patchy. So we had to make a guess on wheel speed because of the conditions, and just so many different monkey wrenches got thrown in. Which is,
it shows how much like luck is involved as well in having a good season.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, a lot of luck, because you can only prepare so much.
Yeah.
Until there is that aspect of luck. And
like, I think a better budget can produce more luck. Like, as stupid as that sounds, it's like, someone once told me that luck is preparedness meets opportunity. So like, if you're not prepared, then you can't have the luck. And if the opportunity never shows up, you can't have it either. So it's like, you can increase the amount of preparedness you have, and that is a budgetary thing. Because like, if you had the budget to replace all the wear parts between each round, or the team to be like, hey, when it shows up, we're putting a new water pump in every round. Like we know there's a failure point, or, plug wires, like, cool. Every 3 runs, we're doing plugs, wires, or however. I know there are teams out there that do plugs like almost every session. Like they'll do practice, plugs, wires every time.
Yeah, we do plugs every round.
Okay.
And then plug wires has been as needed, but I think that's going to go on the list of every round, if not every other round. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they're just melting off, right?
So for us, what actually happened was we use a ceramic booted plug wire.
Okay.
So the point that failed on those 2 was where it actually clips on to the spark plug. So that got loosed, and then with all the vibrations, they just backed off ever so slightly to where they weren't making full contact.
Oh, okay.
And then my engine sounded like a tractor.
I was gonna. It definitely was an interesting sound, to say the least.
Yeah. As soon as it happened, I was like, looked down at my display, saw that oil pressure was good, and then fuel pressure was good, and then dropped a gear and floored it. I was like, all right, we'll be all right. Just downshifted, stayed in it, and
that's got to be such a nerve-wracking feeling, because you're just hoping that it's plug wires and not something else. But I guess oil pressure being all right. I mean, you could potentially have melted a hole in something and still have good oil pressure. I've seen that happen too.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it was. I've heard that noise before with a failed spark plug.
Okay.
And I was just like, it's the last round. If I'm gonna lose, I'm gonna at least make it across the finish line.
Yeah. That's got to be a good feeling, just to be like, okay, this is it. Like if it's gonna blow, this is it. Like,
yeah.
Let's be spectacular about it.
I think what helped too was what was it? The week before last now, I was at the Drift Mansion and I was driving my E36.
Right.
And that currently has a 5.3 in it, so it makes like 350 horsepower. And while I was out there, I was running on the Kenda FD 305s.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think some of that definitely helped with that lap. To where I was just like, all right, foot to the floor, we're doing clutch work.
Jesus. What kind of PSI would you run that at? Like 45? Like
I was at 30.
Oh, okay.
But that car, I have no toe in it at all. Because of towing it, it actually might be slightly towed out.
Gotcha.
I do an alignment on it maybe once every 5 months now. It used to be a lot more frequently, and then I was just like, it drives all right.
Yeah. I would assume at this point you're pretty good at being able to like diagnose how the car's feeling, where you could be like, something's not good. Like it's pulling one way, or it's got way too much bite for this tire pressure. Like, okay, I should probably look at and see what's going on.
Yeah. We, it was crazy too, how different the track got between Friday and Saturday at Long Beach.
That was the one thing that happened with the rubbering in that I wasn't expecting, was how much like the shadows loosened the track up, at least from my perspective.
Yeah,
Like
it got crazy slick.
yeah. So like at a good temp, like when the light was on it, you know, it was 75 degrees out, 80 degrees out. Like it looked like it was fairly tacky after it was rubbered in. But then anytime a car dipped into the shadows, you could see how greasy it got.
Yeah, we made some drastic setup changes. Like we made huge shock changes between the 2 days.
Okay.
And I even I dropped pressure in the tires. We even went, because of how much more front grip the car had compared to the fronts not being in the rubber and the rears being on the rubber.
Yeah.
I went up almost 10 pounds of pressure in the fronts and a bunch of clicks on the shocks just to balance that out. Because in the warm-up session, I kept spinning out and I was just like, what am I doing? Like the car is just over rotating on me out of nowhere. And at first I thought I was crazy. I thought something was broken in the car. We looked over everything, we checked it, and then we made those changes and I was like, oh, car's fine. The track just must be that rubber down to where there's just less traction.
That's so weird. So you were, Yeah, because I do remember seeing you spin out. I remember when practice started, it looked like you were still up on stands. And I was like, okay, I think Nick's probably waiting for the track to get rubbered in, or let everybody else get a couple laps in and then see what it's like. And then I checked Chris Yule's log of laps, and a lot of guys were like 5 or 6. And I think you were at like 1 or 2 at that point. I was like, okay, I hope everything's going well. And then you went out, I saw the spin out, and I'm like, okay, shit, things are not going well. And then after a couple laps, you laid down a few heaters. I'm like, okay, we're back. Like it was a bit of a roller coaster trying to track your progress through first couple of practices.
Yeah, the first practice session on Friday, we had just done valve lash, and sometimes the valve cover gaskets don't like to seat properly. So it had leaked oil onto the headers, and I was just like, you know what, we've got time. Let's fix it. Let the oil burn off. I don't want to deal with that cake in the windshield, breathing that in.
Yeah, or even just getting pulled off track.
Yeah, potentially making a mess for other people. So I was just like, all right, we'll burn that off. And then by the time that was burnt off, I had 1 lap in that first session, and it was behind Ryan, who I don't think had many laps before that either. Mm-hmm. And then we made it to... There's so many zone changes. The second to last zone.
Okay, gotcha.
And he over-rotated a little bit, and then his tire caught on fire. And then he finished the run with his tire on fire, and then his car caught on fire in front of me, and that was that for that practice session. But the next couple practice sessions were all right. And then, Saturday morning, everything felt so much different, especially after seating, because I'm sure people were going way harder.
Yeah.
Even more rubber got laid down, and then the marbles are all bouncing off the wall, coming back onto the track, getting run over and melted in. So.
And I find that rubber in particular tends to flake off. Like it's not pushed in there. And you'll see it kind of like scallop on the edges of the line as well. And that stuff ends up flaking it, after a couple of runs.
You can see it starting to peel up, especially.
Yeah. Can you like, are the marbles that bad? Like, can you feel like the moment you're on, you're like, oh, that's it. We're out of this.
Not necessarily. Well, it depends on the track and the layout. Like in the chase position, if you're running over the lead car's marbles, you don't really notice it.
Right.
But if there's basically like chunked marbles on top of the zone in the lead car, then you'll feel it. But if they're kind of melted in, it just feels a little bit more slick than normal.
Gotcha. Yeah. So marbles offline, I'm sure, pretty brutal, because those are going to be like full actual ball bearings that are sitting out there on an already slick surface. Yeah.
Yeah. Those. Yeah. It's also, turn and track dependent and surface dependent. And this layout was also a little bit challenging because zone 1 is on the only asphalt patch on the concrete run up.
Right. Yeah, the different textures early on, I think was something I called out pretty early, where I'm like, I think this could be pretty weird for a lot of drivers. And we saw a few people have some pretty strange 1 and 2, like zones 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I'm assuming, and I believe I saw you running some sim laps on this, but like how different was it from the actual sim to real world?
It was quite drastically different from what I was driving on the sim. And, I'm sure there's, translation things between having it in the sim to transferring that to an actual scan and then getting communicated between multiple people. There might be small little nuanced things that get changed, and whether the grandstands are slightly placed differently compared to the sim, that might have something to do with it too. And so that the zone placement was basically the same.
Okay.
But the scale of the track almost felt different.
I'd heard it was a little narrower than what the sim originally was.
It felt like half the width.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
I don't think it was, but
for me on the sim, I was able to stay flat out from zone 2 through what was then 3, now 3 and 4.
yeah.
You can hit that whole section flat out on the sim.
Whereas now you're having to lift it like after 2.
Yeah, you have to make some slight adjustments because just with the surface changes and the commitment and the walls coming up faster, yeah, there's some small adjustments that you need to make.
How much do you think it's just like trying to dial in the coefficient of friction of different types of asphalt? Like, I don't know enough about that part of Assetto to be like, oh, like the tracks actively update as more people run laps on them, as more rubber goes in. I don't believe that's the case, but I could be completely off on that.
Yeah, that definitely plays a huge part into it too.
Yeah.
The sim version might have only been set up to be one surface, whereas on the real track, you've got the concrete run up, that asphalt patch on zone 1, then in the middle of zone 2, it transfers from concrete to asphalt, and then there's the multiple different patches of asphalt through the parking lot section.
Yeah.
So, and then, different variables in, what kind of fluids might have been pre-existing embedded in the surface. And then we also crossed the rubber from Long Beach 1, going from 2 to 3.
Yeah.
So there's another variable there with how much of that stays versus how much of it peels up.
There was a fair bit still there. Like,
Yeah.
there wasn't a lot of like flaking or anything like that where it's like on top of it, but it was definitely embedded in the asphalt. That's for sure.
Yeah. So there's so many different variables.
Yeah, I believe, like mathematically speaking, it was fairly close, but I do think it's just some of those like real life things that until you were there staring, looking at it, going like, oh shit, like this is different because of this or that. I don't know. I should probably just get like Geronimo on the show at some point in time. Be like, yo, give me like let's just walk through it. Tell me everything that went into this track.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he did a great job, and everyone that helped him. Honestly, the only thing that I can pick apart on the track is the actual surface changes. Like the layout itself was super fun.
Yeah.
It's tight tandem the whole way, committed entry, several zones. Like, I mean, it makes it feel like a European track almost.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I mean, there really wasn't that many transitions. We had a lot of zones, but like it wasn't like there was like 5 and 6 transitions through a run.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think it did everything it needed to do. And it's not done yet either. Like, to me, this is the worst version of it we'll ever have because we're only going to get better from here.
Exactly. We can take the data, the footage, all the runs, driver input, and just only improve it from here.
Yeah. I'd heard rumors they want to try and do it at night, and I don't know how that would look or what that would be like.
I'm not sure how it would be from a viewing standpoint in terms of the grandstands.
Yeah.
But I think from a driver's perspective, I don't think it would hurt. I think it might actually be pretty cool. Then you get the Type S lights on the outside zones and everything.
I was thinking that, yeah, like if we imagine because there was a lot of conversation about like how the zones were marked, but imagine if there was just like, was blue light all the way around, and then your zones are all marked in red. So like that section, you knew that red light was where the zone was.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be pretty cool having that reference.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be pretty sick. I don't know how else like we would fix it. I mean, I think we have to more or less standardize how all the zones are marked in general, but doing it via lights would be phenomenal.
Yeah, and then I don't think it helped that with the zone changes, we weren't allowed to put black over the previous zones.
Yeah.
So that kind of threw visual references off quite a bit.
Yeah, even from the camera's perspective, it was a little bit weird with it. I think it ended up wearing down pretty heavily, but that's just one of those we didn't realize what permit we needed and all that stuff. Because like obviously dealing with the city of Long Beach, like they were phenomenal through the whole thing, but there was, from my understanding, some pretty stringent guidelines as to what we could and couldn't do when it comes to like painting and stuff.
Yeah, which you get when you're dealing with a city on that scale and having to have the IndyCar track there too and not mess with that too much. And
do you think it opens up the possibility of us doing this in other parking lots per se? Because like there's always it's a parking lot event, it's shit. Like to me, all things considered, I mean, I know we were on the road for a bit of it, like 90% of the track is parking lot. It was a pretty cool parking lot event if that's how you want to label it.
Yeah, and it wasn't all parking lot because I'm pretty sure that section from 2 to 3 is also on the road.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it definitely opens up the possibilities for other venues or other locations to do something similar.
You go, FD just needs to like build and ship their own blocks everywhere. It's like transport trucks covered in concrete blocks.
Yeah, I feel like that's the biggest thing is having the tools and the resources in order to make the track safe and outline it properly instead of it just being cones or paint.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine an FD event now of just cones.
Yeah, I feel like the walls for this layout are what really made it its own actual track instead of just going like, oh, we're in a parking lot. No, like that made it a real track.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny that's the defining factor. Like once there's concrete there, like now it's a racetrack. Any other time it's just a parking lot with cones.
Yeah, like and then the risk factor too from the sim to the real one. There's significantly less walls on the sim. And you hit one of them on the sim, you hit a button and you're back to the start.
Yeah. Not so much the case here.
No, you hit one of those real walls and there's pretty severe consequences.
Yeah. Yeah, that's to say the least. I mean, you got off pretty unscathed, at least through your runs, but there's a few drivers that are, I mean, Adam's hit was pretty bad. Like that was shock tower movement. So
yeah, that was not a pretty hit by any means. No. And then I didn't see the Castro Dimitri hit, but I saw the aftermath of Dimitri's car being strapped from there was a strap from his truck to his car, and then another strap from his car to his trailer.
Oh my God.
So yeah, that was not a good one.
It's BMW strut towers, man. I mean, they are not great.
No, they're. Yeah, you hit them at the right angle. You look at them, some of them at the right angle, and they'll move.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I would love to like sit down with Kevin and be like, hey, can we like, at what point is it a safety factor where we could like brace those? But I mean, what breaks then? Like if you're able to run a front strut tower bar, what breaks instead, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I know a bunch of guys are running a tower-to-tower brace. With how big my supercharger is, I'm pretty sure I would not be able to. I just
you like have to hoop up out of the hood.
I would basically have to run no hood in order to have one. And then, but we do have like what Travis and Dylan and everyone else has is the tube going from the front of the tower down to the frame rail.
Right.
So I feel like that helps a good bit.
I thought, is that something that can be installed ahead of time, or I thought that was only after an accident you could put that in?
You can do it on the front.
Okay.
I remember a few years ago, after Essa had taken a few hits, he was allowed to put them on the backside.
Okay.
So it kind of on his, it was like a tube that curved down around like the backside and went straight to the frame rail.
Right. Yeah, and the strut tower bar can't be tied into the firewall, if I remember.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine to go over, just not back to the firewall, which is like, I don't know. There's some weird ones in there. That's for sure.
On like E92s and newer, those are all built in from the factory.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm not sure what the rules are on using those when they're from the factory, but
yeah, but I mean, I guess with the E46, you have the advantage of the trailing arm suspension, so it's like, a give and take.
Yeah, I guess.
Not you don't think it's as much of an advantage as other people do?
I mean, it is initially, and then once you get some of these guys that have great engineering minds behind all the multi-link stuff, I think it's just as viable. I think the beauty of the trailing arm is the simplicity of it. It doesn't take much for it to be super competitive.
Right. As opposed to like a 5-link system where you change one thing, like that could be and people who get a 5-link system down, it's an incredible setup. But if you don't know what you're doing, you'll ruin that vehicle. Like you'll ruin the setup so quick. Yeah,
like I remember talking to Chris on Simon's team. He was saying just to make a camber adjustment, they had to change 3 different arms.
Yeah.
Which on a 3646, you just change one arm.
Yeah, and it's fairly simple, and you could almost eyeball the alignment with it.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about on stock or other brands, but I know on the WiseFab trailing arm setup, you can change the toe, and it doesn't affect your camber at all.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's, I guess, as a jumping off point, it may be easier to go run trailing arm, like from all the way up to like Pro-Am or something like that. It's like, this is super easy. You can just jump in and do it. And if you need more grip, it's like turning a wrench and there you go. Yeah. Whereas, once you get to the pro level, it's a fairly even playing field.
Yeah, I feel like in terms of out-of-the-box setups, I think 3646 and Corvettes are probably the easiest to deal with.
Okay.
Just Corvette being AA arm. It's kind of as simple as it gets.
Yeah.
But also super competitive.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems like we're moving more and more towards multi-arm rear ends with vehicles now. So that might be just the next thing, like all the BMW stuff, obviously Supra. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I actually didn't realize until recently that the Z4 convertibles up until about 2016 had trailing arms.
Oh, I didn't know that either. I've never really been underneath one, so that makes sense.
Yeah, one of my buddies who competes in GDC was making one and ran one last year in the sim, and it had, the E92 data. And then he went to a shop and was under one of his buddies' Z4s and saw it was trailing arm. And then he got his own, and and then I talked to Reader at Drift Mansion last week, and he was like, they made them all the way up until 2016. So you can have a modern day car with a trailing arm, but
damn,
that was the last one, if I'm not mistaken.
That's funny. Yeah. That's I think it was Jack that let me know that like his car is basically the same suspension design as the Supra.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh fuck, I didn't realize like they continued that crossover that far into building.
Yeah, pretty much anything modern BMW is for the most part the same. Just I think the arm lengths I think are the biggest difference.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, well, I mean, I said it before that like I think the highest competitive teams all have some sort of suspension expert on their team. Like I think that's just where we're at this point.
Yeah.
So it's just more or less what you need to be competitive. Is you just have to have somebody who like more or less lives and breathes just the suspension setup of the car.
Yeah. That's actually been a big help this year. So I know a lot. I know that there's a lot that I don't know as well.
Right.
And for the last 4 years now, or 3 at the beginning of this year. It was me kind of telling the guys, hey, I want to make these changes, blah blah blah, and then we'd do it. Sometimes it would work out, a lot of times it would, but a lot of time there were a handful where it didn't. And then I brought in he came last year for a handful of events, but Keith's brother Sean, who has been racing since he was 4 years old, he knows a lot about suspension stuff, so I was able to actually bounce my thoughts off of him and saying, hey, there's all these different routes where I could go with making a change to fix this issue. And then he'd be like, well, the benefit of doing this one is whatever, and the downside is this, and actually being able to bounce that off of some other people has been pretty helpful.
Yeah, I could see that. I've seen a few drivers change over from coming out of a car and basically saying, hey, do this to the car. And I've seen more and more and heard more and more of them coming out of the car going like, this is what I'm feeling. What should we do?
Yeah.
And I personally think the second option, as long as you have the team around you, is the better one, because, 3 minds will hopefully provide a better answer than just one.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy how you can have your baseline track to track or year to year at that specific track, and how much stuff can change.
Yeah. Well, there's so many factors in what we do, right? Like how much the track's rubbered in, the temperature, who you're competing against, even just your own vehicle. Like, did you take a big hit last year? Because that could be enough to throw things off where your baseline suspension setup is towed in now or something.
Yeah.
You hope it's not, but
yeah, or your subframe is not quite in the same place as it used to be.
That happens a lot. Yeah. Sorry, Derek Madison.
That's the whole reason why a couple years ago I got into a new E46 chassis, was because that had been pulled out so many times. The subframe sits kind of like this at each point. Yeah. Yeah.
Put it on the floor and it rocks back and forth kind of thing.
Like, you can't bolt a factory subframe up to it because only 3 of the 4 holes will line up.
That's terrible. Funny, but terrible.
That's what drifting does.
What do you think the lifespan of a pro FD car is now? Like, how many years can you get out of it before you're like, this is basically used up?
I think it ultimately depends on how many bad hits it has.
Okay.
I think if you have maybe like one bad hit, depending on where it is, I think you can probably get 10 years out of one.
Okay. But like 2, 3.
2, 3.
Kind of like,
I feel like every bad hit after that initial one, you're probably knocking 2 years off of the car's lifespan.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, I could see that. I think that tracks for a lot of vehicles.
Yeah, because when we got that Hilburn car, it had already had a few nasty hits. And I had to, before I even took that car to FD, I had to take it to a frame machine. Like, it drove all right, but I just wanted to make sure everything was as straight as it could be before even competing in it. And then I had some small hits. I had one decent hit in Jersey in 21 where I got the wall, got the wheel. And then I backed it into the wall a couple of times at Long Beach. But I didn't really move the subframe. It just moved kind of the like rear crash structure mounting metal.
Yeah.
And yeah, showing up to tech that year, Kevin was like, hey, your subframe is like completely out of spec. I was like, he was like, no, like it's out of spec in the opposite direction. Like it's clearly you're not trying to like raise it and gain an advantage. Like your subframe is all twisted and is pulling away from the chassis in spots.
That's funny.
And then I was just like, okay, cool, noted. And then like 2 weeks later, got an $800 E46 from Copart.
Oh, perfect.
So
as where most good drift cars come from.
It was running and driving.
Damn.
Like, yeah, it just, it was auto. It looked like someone like ran into one of those concrete posts because the radiator was smashed in, but the front crash structure hadn't moved at all.
That's not bad at all then. That's
Yeah.
pretty much what you want.
Yeah,
Yeah. Let the engine take the brunt.
pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would love to know how many FD cars came from Copar originally.
Yeah, I know. I think both Travis and Dylan's E46s came from older ladies.
Yeah, one of them is I shot that, one of the media guys. His mom's car, I think, is Dylan's. It's Dylan's or Travis's, I can't remember. So it's like just a super funny, like how this all worked out kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Just kidding. This is an ad read. I hope we got this. Knowing Kyle, knowing our editor Kyle, he made that super, super seamless. But I am interrupting this message and I'm super sorry. Maybe you're in the middle of your workday. Maybe you're driving. Maybe you're just mindlessly listening and now you're paying attention. So now that I have your attention, guess what? Save 20%. That's right. Save 20%. Use podcast 25 at checkout. PODCAST 25. The number is 25 at checkout. You're going to save yourself 20%. Yeah. It would be interesting. Like, where'd you get the chassis from? I mean, there's a few, obviously, like RTR is getting something from Ford. I'm sure they're like blank fins or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Be able to get some other OEMs in too.
Well, did you see the announcement today? I can't remember the driver's name. One of the drifting twins out of Europe has an M4, and they're claiming it is a factory-backed built M4 from BMW, like pro drift car.
Yeah. I remember seeing the Drift Brothers built a couple of M4s in collab a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
and then I think it's
an M2 this time.
This time. It's an M2.
That was it.
Yeah.
But the video shoot is in the BMW factory.
Yeah.
So
I
like,
haven't got to watch the video yet, but I saw the Instagram post.
Yeah, I haven't. I think I saw it maybe 15 minutes before we jumped on, and I was like, okay, like I'm gonna have to dig into this a bit more, especially because it's like, oh, he's on the Drift Masters roster for next year, and I'm like, well, this is the first I'm hearing of that. Not that I'm 100% in the loop with everything everybody does, but usually you get some. Usually you can tell the year before, kind of like if there's new people coming in, you hear some word. But if that's the case, if BMW is actually factory backing a driver, then that could be huge considering how not involved they've been for several years.
Yeah, and especially those earlier years where they were almost against it.
Yeah, where like, I think Essa had to take the badge off his car for stuff because he was getting like cease and desist from them.
Yeah. And then if I remember right, I think it wasn't this year at Poland. I think it was last year. I think it's Elias who's driving that M2.
Yeah, I believe so.
I think he ended up getting the first 2 Series Eurofighter, and they were using that to kind of test things for the new M2. Because I remember that car, if I'm not mistaken, was LS powered and everything, and then they put a built S58 into it. Okay. And we're kind of testing that out. And I would imagine this whole last year they've been kind of developing all of those parts in that build with BMW. Yeah, that'd be really interesting. I don't know. I hope that's the case. I really do. Because I think if they do, that might open the door to a few other companies as well. Yeah. Yeah, and it's amazing what Toyota and Ford have been able to do, and Nissan with Forsberg, and the amount of support that they've given drifting. It'd be pretty cool to see some other brands get involved as well. Yeah, I mean, I know there's a few of them kicking around, but like we don't see a ton. But like, why not Audi? Like, why not just see like what they're able to do? I know being all-wheel drive, that means that the suspension up front is like incredibly limiting when it comes to like how to get a ton of angle out of it. But I've seen angle kits for old S4s, so it's like, why not, right? There's got to be something there. Yeah, and with the way the rules are, we're allowed to completely move where the steering racks are. So I don't see. I fail to see what the problem is, right? Yeah, and like we're swapping everything else out, so it's just a chassis at that point. Yeah, just kind of engineer something to work with that. Yeah. And it's also another brand similar to BMW that depreciates shockingly fast, like kind of absurdly quick. Like
I mean, what, 20 years ago, BMW was like only, lawyers and things like that. I mean, the M3s have held, like the M series always hold their value, but now, what did you end up paying for your Copar vehicle? Like $800?
$800.
Yeah.
Like $1,200 after tax.
Yeah. So like, there was a time where you could buy a running, driving manual E36 for like $800.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I remember.
Fondly remember those days.
Yeah, I was actually just at the Peterson. They had an E36 lightweight, and they were, according to the placard on there, it said they were like $60,000 new. I don't know if it was the lightweight or just the M3s in general.
Okay.
And when I got my E36 M3 10 years ago now, it was $9,000.
Yeah.
And that was for a one owner, like 140,000 mile car.
So like a good specimen of that vehicle.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Seemingly. We got into it more and there was rust, but that wasn't advertised.
Does anybody? Listen, I got a truck that's falling apart, but if people ask, I'm like, yeah, I was winter driven in Canada for a few months. Which isn't a lie. Just the few months was like 10 years, but 120 months, whatever.
It's a few.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it'd be 60 months because half the year, but I don't know. The amount of salt we put up on the roads up there, it's probably more like 10 full years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on like what the next drift chassis might be or what we could be in for?
I'm not sure. Like, it's like the Mustangs and the Toyota stuff are pretty much the most modern rear wheel drive stuff. Maybe some
wasn't
of the
a ton
Lexuses.
of C7s.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. If you get into including mid-engine stuff like the C8s, C7s, be interesting to see whenever Matt brings the C8 how that does.
It doesn't sound like it's going to happen anytime soon. So
yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of learning, especially with the new platform and mid-engine and
his sentiment, and this isn't a spoiler because I had him on the show not that long ago. But his sentiment was basically like, I don't have the spares package to compete with that.
Right.
And like just getting a bumper for it is ridiculously difficult. And like, I'm going to need a bunch of them. So,
yeah,
but he's of the opinion it's pretty much there. Like with a solid day or two of like practice and tuning and like an actual test day with it, he thinks it could be as competitive as a C6.
Yeah. Cause I drove Drift Appalachia this year with him. He was in his C8 there.
Okay.
And also at Hyperfest, and that thing rips. That's super cool. It sounds sick.
Yeah.
You're just driving down, going down the mountain road, drifted, and then you just hear a C8 behind you, and you're just like, all right, well, I'm flooring it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, maybe because they didn't produce a ton, but like the Kia Stinger I had hope for. I thought that it might do it, but
yeah,
automatic, like a bunch of work to get. I think it's usually a vehicle that depreciates quickly, already comes rear wheel drive and with a manual. Those end up starting off in grassroots, and then there's a bunch of them. Like it has to be a high production vehicle. So like it's not leaving a lot other than what? I guess it wasn't rear wheel. I was thinking like the Ford Maverick or something, like the little pickups.
Yeah, those would be cool.
Yeah.
I think in terms of out of the norm chassis, I'd like to see like more Mercedes drift cars stateside. That'd be cool.
Okay. Could see that.
Most of them are all rear wheel drive, and if you're swapping the engine and trans anyway, why not?
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd always be down for diesels, but I just don't think that's going to happen. But it's fine. I'll get over it.
Yeah. And then if you've got the budget for it, one of those twin turbo AMG engines, with upgraded turbos and a tune can probably make close to, if not more than 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then they're fully built internals already because they're built by AMG.
Yeah. I guess there's a couple Lexus that are coming out that might be able to do it. I don't think any are with manual gearboxes though, unless we get to the days of like paddle shift.
Yeah.
How long until we have a paddle shift drift car, or not even paddle shift, just like, what is the 8 HP? Like that's basically where we're at with it. Like why not find more cars where it is a paddle shift car, but you have a shifter that's on the tunnel.
I mean, also like, I don't know, with how, we're able to do pedal boxes and most people are doing either a 4-speed or sequential transmission anyway. I don't see, apart from the actual suspension development for these chassis, why we don't use them.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I think it'd be cool to like budget aside, something like an AMG GT or even like a Lexus F-Type, or not Lexus, Jaguar F-Type.
Do you think people are afraid now to develop a new chassis where it's like it's so much work and you basically just have to sit there and be like, yeah, for the first 2 years I'm going to suck really bad to figure this thing out.
You either need to accept that it's going to be a rough couple of years developing it, or compete in something else while you develop that other car. I think that's the smartest thing, is to kind of develop it outside of competition and then kind of ease its way into competition when you feel like it's getting to where it needs to be.
Well, I mean, that's basically what Matt's doing, right? He's running all these other events and just being like, okay, let's figure out what's going to break and then give it a year or two and then go from there.
Yeah, it's like what Vaughn did when he made the switch to the S550. He ran that car as a demo car for, I think, a year, if not a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So when we see you in an AMG, we know what's up, right?
Yeah, hopefully. So budget's got to get way higher for something like that.
Yeah, that's that'll be interesting. Call up WiseFab, be like, hey, I have something cool. Can you come by the shop and like bring the scanner, because we're gonna need to do something.
Yeah, that would be a dream build for sure.
Yeah, something
like either a new C-Class, or even if you want to get a little bit older, like the 2014 AMG C63 AMG Black.
Okay.
Something like that.
You're pushing my knowledge of those a little further than I'm comfortable with, but yeah, that sounds interesting.
They're at that point they were NA V8s. I think they were 5-liter V8s.
Okay.
But factory wide body, super aggressive bodywork, like wing.
Yeah.
Great sounding. Like, yeah.
Copar. Set up notifications, man.
Pretty much.
Yeah. That would be a cool pitch, though. I'm sure that would open up a couple of doors to be able to pitch that, as long as you go in basically being like, hey, this is going to be a party car for a year.
Yeah.
Until it's ready to go, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. Then well, like, and then you run into what Matt's doing with the C8, where you're like, okay, I need to develop spares, figure out what I'm going to need, what's going to break.
Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah, I feel like if you keep the front engine rear wheel drive package, especially if you are potentially transferring the drivetrain and you're just doing chassis development, I feel like that's a lot more accessible versus, developing a whole new engine setup, a whole new fueling delivery, tuning setup.
Yeah, because if you took your engine trans right now and even, quick change, drop that in, then you're like, okay, cool. I've solved 50% of the problems with something I already know how to work on and how it operates.
Exactly.
You don't, it's a good point. Because like the Ferrari, the Aston Martin, like they've run into more than just chassis issues throughout their time, right?
Yeah.
Like it was also engine issues. Like Federico's on version 4 of power adders to figure out what's going to be the best, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
twin
it seems like
supercharged.
it's working a lot better now. But he started out with the twin superchargers, and then for a few years was, on a 300 shot or something of nitrous. And
yeah. I think he went twin turbo for a bit. Now he's single turbo.
Yeah.
I don't know if he went twin turbo. I'd have to think
I'm
about
not sure.
But yeah. But it is better, but we're 5-6 years of just trying to make it okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He's had a couple of breakout moments this year where I'm like, this is it. Like he's got it. Like, and then
Yeah.
something weird happens, and then you're like, okay, never mind.
Yeah, no,
But
he's-
I think it's there.
This year he's also got the gearing adjustability as well with
Right,
I know
'cause he didn't
put
have a quick change before.
660 set up in there.
Yeah. Fuck, man. You want it to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely getting there for sure.
Yeah. Well, even with Darren and the Aston, like I know they didn't finish the final season, but it seemed like I think the final event that he did in it looked phenomenal, and you're like, oh, here we go. And then
Yeah.
I don't know, I have to have him on the podcast at some point because that's one of those like, if you weren't around, like you don't realize how ridiculous that car was. Like it was one
Yeah.
of the most advanced vehicles we had, and also I would argue that one of the best we've ever heard on track.
Yeah, that thing was crazy loud.
It was stupid loud, but it sounded nice. Like there's loud and doesn't sound good, and this was
Right.
loud and sounded phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. Talking about needing budget for next year, so like sponsorship stuff are you like after a good night's sleep? Is that basically like your full push now, or have you
Yeah.
had conversations all year, or I guess like what's next on that front for you?
I've had a couple of smaller conversations, but yeah, we're in the big push mode for being able to be good for next year.
Yeah. Are you like immediately hitting up people you already worked with? Like, do you have a game plan? I know it's a kind of you have a few people that work with you on that.
Yeah, it's been with all the events back to back. And not having a ton of external help. It's tough because it's at the point where you start reaching out to people and then trying to set up meetings and then you either get responses or you don't get responses. I'd rather get a response that says, "Hey, sorry, no can do," than just kind of get ghosted. And yeah, so kind of going all in and trying to see what we can get for next year.
Yeah, it's not a great spot to be in, but I know you're not the only one. It's been this operating year seems like one of the coldest ones when it comes to like sponsorships and things like that. I can't say who, but I'd heard a very large sponsor just left a driver like this past weekend. And I'm like, ooh, that's not good.
Yeah.
So like a title from a pre-existing driver that I'm like, oh, that's a big loss. So that doesn't make me feel all warm and fuzzy when it comes to sponsorship season. Sorry to freak you out more, but
Well, the upside and the downside are both the same. Is at least I'm not in the same boat, or at least I am in the same boat as a lot of people. So
yeah, then you're like, okay, at least it's not me. Like I'm not the problem here.
yeah, yeah, because and that's a big thing too. Has been over the last few years, kind of learning how to actually sell myself, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And sell the program.
Where do you get that info from? Are you just like learning from other drivers or?
Yeah, this year I've actually been able to talk to a couple other drivers because it feels like it's kind of been a taboo thing to ask before.
Right.
And then, talking with a couple people, they were like, yeah, dude, just ask away. And, if it's something I can't share, then I'll just say I can't share it. But,
yeah,
because I've always had that mindset of like, okay, if I'm one of these companies, why the hell do I want to invest? How do I make them want to invest? And that's where I would always get stumped because I'm just like, well, here's what we do, here's this and that. And then kind of learning how to build more onto that and, how to go above and beyond expectations and everything and build the relationships deeper and stuff like that.
Did you have any like aha moments or like a piece of advice that came through that you're like, oh shit, like I don't know how I missed this for all these years?
A little bit, yeah.
Anything you can share? Like, I mean, I don't want you like giving away all the secrets, but.
Not really off the top of my head.
Okay, that's all good. Feel free to blurt it out later if you just, if it's middle of a conversation. You're like, oh, I remember what it is now.
But there's just a bunch of opportunities that happen in coincidence with being at FD and participating in it that were pointed out to me, and I realize, oh, I'm not utilizing these things or these analytics or other things.
Right. Like, I mean, FD's own analytics are phenomenal and like can be utilized for your own advantage as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I don't know. It's a weird time with it. I've had a lot of conversation with drivers about it this year and just been like, everyone's trying to do something different. Like, I think the days of like, oh, you just have to do this and make a couple posts are kind of not gone, but like that's the standard issue at this point. And it's like the drivers who are like, oh, I've heard a lot of, I'm building a car for this sponsor to do in like a giveaway or things like that. Like obviously we saw with Neft and Chris, Adam, Matt are all building vehicles for that. But there's, I think, 2 other drivers that are doing or have done something similar. And it's like, that's interesting. Like you're literally just going to build something for them. And I'm sure you got enough leftover parts. You could probably do that.
Well, do that. And then, creating the content to post for them as well.
Yeah.
Of making those cars and building them.
Well, you just hand it over, right? Where you're like, okay, here you go. This is like, I'm not even going to post it or I'll collab with you on it or something. But like, this is yours now.
Here's, this several hours of footage of us building this car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're all pretty good at building cars, so why not lead into that, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
This year's been a lot of learning in more ways than one with being able to talk to those guys about like, okay, I'm doing this. How do I, because at the end of the day, monetary is the toughest thing to get.
Yeah.
Like parts to a degree are almost one of the easiest things, I feel like.
Yeah, and I think it's easier for a brand to write off lost parts, not lost, but like I'm sure some of them write them off as lost, but a donation of parts is a relatively easy thing when it comes to bookkeeping to deal with. Right. But just handing another person or another business cash, like they basically have to write it off as like an advertising expense or something like that. So like you've got to send an invoice, you have to have an LLC, those types of things. Those are, once again, they're standard issue now, but it's something that, same thing, I don't think we teach drivers about, where it's like, yo, if you're driving at like Pro-Am level or like you want a sponsor that's going to give you money, you kind of need to have an LLC ready to go.
Yeah.
You should be operating your entire race program through its own dedicated business.
Right.
But like nobody teaches that.
Yeah, there's a lot that I wish I would have known back in Pro-Am.
Yeah. That could have been easier now, right?
Yeah, especially like even just the social media aspect. Because I would not really post much unless, I'd kind of post oh, yep, this is how the event went type of post with a couple of pictures, and that was it. Versus
nothing like at the event or like, this is what's going on. Thank you, this partner, and here's me putting your wheels on, or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like stuff you can do specifically for partners, or kind of give more insight into what's going on and build that audience up more.
Why do you think that info is not shared? Like, is it just nobody, like, is it taboo, or is it people don't want to give it up because they're afraid someone's going to cut in on it? Or
I think it's a combination of things. I think it's a combination of people not feeling comfortable to ask, other people not necessarily wanting to give away the information, and then other people just not really thinking about it until it's like, oh shit, I need to have been doing this or that.
Right. It is a weird, like, I don't mind. I don't have a lot of shame when it comes to that stuff. Like, I've asked drivers like, oh, like, how much you get on this deal? And you can see like the look on their face, like, what? And I'm like, yeah, just like, what did you land on that? And they're like, oh, and I'll usually get like a ballpark. They'll be like, oh, it was in the like, 1 to 130 range. And I'm like, oh, sick. Like that's obviously a really good sponsorship. Like, congratulations. So, but you can see how often they're like shocked when I bring that up. Like even you and I chatting some financial stuff before, I could kind of look and you were like, oh, fuck. Okay. We're doing this. All right, let's go. Like, but I don't know. I try to remove the stigma from it as much as I can, because I don't think that there's a benefit in us hiding it. I think some stuff, or like, you may not want to come to me and like, Kenda paid me this amount. So that way a driver, or come out and say it on this podcast because you don't want a driver coming in and like undercutting you by like 20K or something like that.
Right.
And being like, or all of it or whatever.
Yeah. And talking to other people and drivers that have been involved previously, I know one of them actually had reached out to an outside agency to help them with sponsorships. And this was from maybe 8 years ago now.
Okay.
And they were just like, wow, you're like completely underselling yourself. And I feel like that's an issue that most of us do.
Yeah.
Which I think if we did the opposite and, kind of oversold ourselves, then I think it would help not just us as drivers, but I think the sport grow into a potentially bigger marketplace.
I've been told that a title sponsor should cover anywhere between 50 to 75% of your budget, your operating budget for a season.
Yeah.
So whatever that ends up being, right? If it's like a $200,000 budget, it should be 100 to 150 grand, which like, for a lot of people, like, holy shit. And I'm like, well, that's an operating budget for FD.
Yep.
Isn't 75. It's not 80 grand anymore. It's not 10,000 around. Like it's double or triple that depending on what you're doing and how many people you have.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think you can still do it I still think you can do it for 80 grand, but I really do think once you factor everything in and part, like, I think 80 grand is probably the cheapest you can do it at this point.
Yeah. And that's, sleeping at the track potentially, or
shit food.
Yeah. Everyone drives to the event versus flying people out, or if they are flying out, it's on
Spirit, Frontier,
something like that. Yeah,
we can name names. They're not sponsors. It's fine. Listen, Delta, answer my emails because like we need Delta on the podcast. Be phenomenal. Like if I've given you enough money this year, so
Delta would be a sick sponsorship, and they're here in Atlanta.
They are. There's I've heard some rumors of people pursuing them. So
I've got friends that work there, so maybe they can get me in contact.
If nothing else, just to cover the cost of your flights.
Yeah.
Right. And like the whole team's
would be a
flights.
huge help.
Yeah, because that's let's say even if you're driving and you've got 3 or 4 guys coming out, you're 25 to $3 grand around just in flights.
Yeah.
Right. You're $500-600. It depends on what you're flying, but like Delta flights, unless it's a really, you're in Atlanta, so you're at a hub, which is nice, but you're still on the bare minimum $300 to $400 a flight.
Yep.
So I would say the lowest bill you're going to get is $1 grand for a round.
Yeah. Yeah. And even that would be a big help.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
If you could shave $10,000 off a season, that's pretty sick.
Yeah. That's something that those small amounts can add up real quick if you get enough of them.
Yeah. I think finding a way to get brands to cover an expense that you have is always easier than getting cash out of them. And like one thing that I've heard, and I know of 2 drivers off the top of my head that have done this, where they've literally gone to a brand and said, listen, just put me as an employee. Like if you can't sponsor my team, put me as an employee, as a marketing person, and just cut me a check every month as an employee and pay me as an employee. And that's how we'll do it. And I know 2 drivers in particular that have done that. And like they, whether that's like 60 grand a year or something, but they know that every week or every 2 weeks, they're getting a paycheck. They're getting, $1,000 in. And it's like, cool. At least I know my bills at home are paid for, or, my cell phone bill, my rent, some of my groceries are all paid for. And then I don't have to worry about that. And then I can survive, and everything else I can just put into the team in the car. Like I don't need a job now, and I can spend every other waking hour just pursuing my race career.
Yeah, exactly.
And for a company, that's a pretty easy, knock on wood, that's a pretty easy thing to do.
Especially a bigger one that has, thousands of employees.
Oh yeah. But even a company that's got like 100 employees, right? Like any construction company.
Yeah.
like a home builder, like let's say a home builder, they're going to have, and like even with a home builder, they're going to have contractors because every home builder works off contractors. So you're like, cool, I'm your marketing contractor, right? So I'm going to send you an invoice for $4,000 a month, every month that you pay. And that is your marketing expense because we're going to put it on the side of the car. And then during your Christmas party, I'm going to bring my race car to the Christmas party and, all the kids can get photos in the race car and that's going to be my thank you. And you can raffle off a ride along as a silent auction thing at your Christmas party. And, I was going to say bring them out to Lanier, but RIP. But like I'll do a drift day and that person can come out and do some ride alongs. And like, that's my thank you back.
Yeah. There's so many different ways of doing these things that I've only scratched the surface on. Yeah.
So there you go. I just gave you one.
Yeah.
I gave you a few. So like, I can't wait till like, ABC Atlanta Home Builder is on the side of your car and I'll be like, that one's fucking mine. Right there. Like, but yeah, I don't know. I do wish we talked more about it. I'm trying to talk about it on every episode at this point to just break it down. Like if you haven't seen it yet, the Matt Field one, him and I get into like some heat wave stuff. I think we talked about Neft in it. But we talked about like Borla and things like that, where like how that all came apart or how it came about, not apart.
Yeah, I haven't finished it. I got to where you guys were talking about the lean deal.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's actually a good one too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I just think it's important because I also want the younger drivers, the drivers coming up to know their value. Cause I think that may actually help the drivers going up because there are a lot of drivers in Pro-Am that are like, yeah, for like $2,000, you can have my door. Right. And it's like, well, that's kind of screws everybody above them too.
Yeah.
No offense to those guys that are doing that.
Yeah. And like, I get it from both sides too, where it's like, oh, I kind of need something, but like, you can't just do that and because it affects other things and other people's deals and the overall value that someone places on that stuff.
Well, exactly. Cause like, it's pretty easy for a brand to be like, well, what makes you different than the guy I just gave $2,000 to for an entire livery?
Yeah.
Right.
So if you're like, oh, this guy got a door for $2,000. Why am I going to pay? Or when you go to ask for more money, they're like, well, you already gave us your door for $2,000. Why would we give you more?
That's the other part too. That like, they don't realize that long term, they're going to screw themselves pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Just education, I guess.
Yeah. I wish, all this stuff is stuff I wish I would have known back even before Pro-Am.
So I know in the NFL, they do, like if you're a rookie coming into the NFL, there's like a 1 week training course that all players go through. That's like financial management, like brand deals, like how to, get an agent or most of them have agents and shit like that. But like, I wonder if that would solve problems if like at the Pro-Am level, there's a course that like they all have to go through where it's like, hey, this is like the gold standard. We're going to show you what you need to do. I would hope that by the time you get to FD, you got to figure it out. But like, it's not quite the case yet. You're not the only driver I've spoken to about this where they're like, oh shit, like I didn't know this thing. And to me, it's kind of base level knowledge. No offense. Yeah. So, but I think we could resolve it by starting at the Pro-Am level.
Yeah, I think, or if you, even worst case, drivers, if you get a prospect license, then you take that course.
That's fair. Like, even if it's like online.
Yeah, even if it's like a Zoom call, and then you've got some motorsports agents presenting it, and then some other drivers who have long-term success with multiple deals and multiple big partners.
I think the driver side would be a good one. Like, I think every prospect driver should have a pro mentor.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is your person. And like part of being pro is you have to have 2 prospect mentees.
Yeah. I think that would actually help a lot of people out for sure.
Yeah. I think it would also help pro be a little bit more invested in prospect. Like I will say like Utah, I saw more pro drivers in the stands, like watching that than I've ever seen because a lot of the times they're busy, they're doing other shit, but like there was a very large contingent of pro drivers watching. Even up in the spotter stand, there was a bunch of them up there. They shouldn't be there, but like it was kind of cool to see. And I'm like, man, if we could build that relationship, I think it would also help pro drivers recruit and like build teams faster, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Like, I like to watch it because I still have friends that compete in pro spec, and
Yeah.
like I was giving a bunch of setup stuff to Cole at the beginning of this year, and
nice.
kind of helping him with don't overdo things, make sure it's drivable, and I think it helped a lot.
I think so. He came very close to getting his license.
Yeah, and I think one mistake kind of cost him that, but
4
that's the way
rounds.
drifting goes.
Yeah, that's especially on a half season. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it would be cool to see pro spec over 8 rounds, but even if it was like you have to compete in 4 and you pick the 4,
Yeah, that could be interesting.
or only your 4 best results count.
Maybe.
So you could compete in all 8, but only your 4 best do it. That way, because for the drivers that can't commit to that or something.
Yeah. Yeah, or then it would take a lot more work scheduling wise, and I don't know if all
yeah.
the venues would be able to do it. So you might
Come
have to
on,
do
we squeezed both
individuals.
into Orlando before. It sucked, but we can do it.
But I'm talking so it would be interesting, and I don't know how practical it would be, probably not very, to maybe see like how ARCA has East and West Coast series.
Yep.
Maybe do something like that with Press Back. So like the 4 West Coast rounds are a series, and the 4 East Coast rounds are, or maybe even do
Interesting.
something like that, kind of as a stepping between Pro Am and Pro Spec.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So I don't know, something like that would be cool to see.
I would love to see licensing change a little bit in Pro Am. Like I think it could be cool to have like an East Coast versus West Coast, or like, let's say like you take 4 of the Pro-Ams from East, 4 of the Pro-Ams from the West, or something like that, and the top 2 drivers from each of the top 4 drivers or whatever, and then they all compete. And then, then we go to like the top 16 from both of those, then compete in. Or you have, like, you don't even do the top. You do whoever wants to show up. But like, let's say you have to be in the top 16, right? From your series. Like, you can't be a 30-second driver. And then you do an East Coast shootout. I hate the word, but like an East Coast shootout where anybody who's in the top 16 from a Pro-Am from the East Coast can register for it. And then the top 16 from that then battle the top 16 from the West Coast, and we have like a grand finale of Pro-Am.
Yeah, something like that would be cool. They did something similar a few years ago where it was drivers from U.S. Drift, Midwest Drift Union, and Southeast Drift Union
Yeah.
all had an event at Kilcare,
Okay.
and I think it was only allowed for the top 16 drivers, but that was still ended up being like an East Coast only type of thing versus an East Coast West Coast.
You would the amount of organization it would take, like FD would kind of have to oversee all of that, and like I think they got enough shit on their plate right now to
especially
add
if licensing and everything is involved.
Yeah, well, I mean, right now it's they hand it out to the Pro-Am side, and I would say for the most part, the drivers coming in from Pro-Am are pretty well equipped for Pro Spec, but I would still like to find a better way, because we just have a lot of Pro Spec drivers, and you could argue 8 to 10 of them just don't seem prepared for it.
Right. Yeah,
So.
I think something that helped me was Lone Star was 7 rounds.
Yeah,
So maybe, because I'm not even sure how many of these Pro-Am series are actually series anymore versus shootouts. I know there's a couple, but
Yeah, there's a few. Or you have to make it. See, it's tough because like I don't want to increase the barrier to entry so high that it's just, no offense, like a bunch of people with money that can just come in and buy their way into it. Like I still want the ability for some young kid with like a shoestring budget to be able to come in and do this.
yeah.
So it's like, you have to compete in 8 rounds of Pro-Am. It doesn't matter what Pro-Ams you're a part of, but you have to compete in those 8, and then your average placement, you get your pro spec license if your average placement is above 5 or something. Like I don't, we'd have to play with it a little bit, but like then you could go drive 2 rounds of hot pit and then go up and do, like wherever, and you could go flip around and run a couple of different series.
Yeah, or like, there was, or like if Lone Star started doing FD sanctioned stuff again, you could do that, and then that whatever I'm not sure what it's called, but the Oklahoma series too. You could
Right.
do
That
something
Stuckey's
like
a part of. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think the 2 things that we don't teach enough in Pro-Am are travel logistics and marketing.
Yeah.
Like the amount of drivers I've seen fall out purely because they didn't budget correctly, and that either comes from like they didn't get enough sponsorship money or they didn't budget for the logistics is wild. So to me, that means we're not teaching that skill, right?
Right.
You can blame the driver all you want, but it's one of those like if a class of kids, if like 50% of the kids fail, that's not the kids. That's the system or the teacher who's not teaching them correctly.
Right.
Yeah, and we can't just keep adjusting the bell curve to include everybody. Like I want to fix the problem, not just lower the standard.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Ultimately, if you make it better overall, it's going to help everyone.
Yeah.
That's involved.
And you'll have more savvy drivers coming up with better budgets, which then just raises the bar for everybody else. And
then it brings different types of brands in, and then the competitors of those brands go, oh, this person's involved with that. Oh, how do I get involved? Stuff
well,
like
exactly.
that.
Like if you look at like the second tier of racing almost anywhere, there's still very large national brands in that second tier. Other than the Sorensens, I'm trying to like run through all the different pro spec drivers, which is a lot, but like other than Amanda and Cameron, what other national brand, I guess Human and Harbor Freight, but that's not even his title. But like we don't have any national or international large brands in pro spec.
Yeah.
I know I'm missing somebody, and so I'm going to get the comment.
I'm trying to run through in my head too.
But like most of them are like, they're within the industry, they're parts companies, and even still, they're not throwing a ton of money at anybody.
Right. Yeah. Like I know from my experience back when I was in pro spec, we reached out to a bunch of people, and a lot of them were like, oh yeah, sorry, we're not interested. Or some of them were like, oh yeah, it'd be cool, but like, you're only in pro spec. Talk to us when you get to pro.
Yeah.
So
yeah, some of that's just removing the stigma around pro spec.
Yeah.
Right. Because like there are brands who jump into like Formula 2. Like there's lots of very large brands in Formula 2. There's a couple of drivers that have an immense amount of family money and they're doing that. That'll always happen. You'll never get away from that.
That's just racing.
That's just sports. That's just hobbies.
Yeah.
Like, there's no hobby in the world where it's just poor people. Like, there's always some rich dude in there screwing things up. But, I don't know. I said, before the show, we talked about this. Like, what do we want to talk about? Like, it's going to be, your career, what's happening next year? What do you think of Shoreline? And let's fix drifting. That's every episode. So, I don't know. Any other glaring problems we have with our sport that we should resolve while on this call?
Well, the 2 biggest ones for me, I think we've covered, which are qualifying and sponsorships.
Oh man.
Because I feel like the driving this season, just from everyone, has been even better than last year.
Oh yeah, yeah. we talked about it a lot in the commentary booth, but like, I think the transition game is like the next hurdle in FD. Is like everybody is relatively close in tandem, you know, within a foot or two of each other. And if you're not, it seems so glaring at this point. But to me, the transitions are where it's going to be won or lost. Like, I think we'll get to a point where it already is where like the transition is what is winning and losing battles at this point.
Yeah.
I just don't know how you practice that. Like, you just set up a track that is just all switchbacks and then you just drive with somebody and do 100 transitions in a run.
Or you could even do like tandem figure eights.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Remember seeing Daigo doing that a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then when I first went over to Episu in 2018, I remember just to get a feel for right hand drive, doing that with someone else that was also not quite familiar with right hand drive.
Yeah.
So we would just kind of go back and forth I think we did it for like an hour and a half before actually going on any of the courses.
Oh, wow.
Just so we didn't total our cars right off the rip.
Yeah, that's a good point. Tandem figure eight's a really, really good idea. I think to like where Jack and Connor practice, and it's like, you know, basically an oval, but they add a transition on the straights.
Yeah.
And they're just like tandeming all the way through that.
Yeah. Yeah, that, I mean, outside of Sim, that's pretty much the only real place where you can do it. You just have to do it on a heavy transition track.
Yeah. What do you, I mean, you have a lot more prowess in Sim. Is there like a couple of tracks where you're like, this is, like, you want to talk about training grounds, this is the best training ground you can go to?
Honestly, anything VDC, because the types of tracks vary so drastically. You'll have a track where it's tight and super technical. Then you'll have one where it's high commitment, big elevation change, like walls on each zone. And so it really gives you a bit of everything. And then we didn't run it last year, but I think the year before was the 2005 layout of Silverstone.
Oh, okay.
So you go, it's like 120 mile an hour entry through a big sweeper, then you decel, and then it kind of gets more technical as you go, and it finishes on a hairpin transition.
Damn.
So stuff like that it's a lot of stuff you can do there that you can't really do at a single track for real life.
Are you driving mostly VDC, like cars and track layouts? Okay.
Yeah, pretty much exclusively.
And that seems to be the best analogous to real life.
Yeah, it's definitely the most realistic in terms of competition style cars.
Okay.
Because a lot of the geometry is based on, you know, WiseFab or other similar things. The powertrains and everything are based off of real cars, you know, from multiple drivers that have either posted their stuff publicly or shared with Chris and Craig from VDC.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, a lot of it is pretty competitive.
How long do you think it'll be before like sim drifting competitions have a viewership that's similar to maybe where we're at right now with real life? Or do you think, like, is there something, I think it'll be tough to ever like match, unless there's like a massive cultural shift or something like COVID. I think that obviously gave it a massive
I think
bump.
that
But
helped
like,
a lot.
do you think there's anything holding it back, or do you think it's just a wait until all these young kids who do watch it and compete in it get to the age where they have kids, and then that's when it happens?
I think it's a little bit of that. I think also if you started having maybe LAN events with it.
Oh, okay.
I think that's where it would really blow up.
Right.
But I mean, the logistics of that, like, I would imagine, are just an effing nightmare.
But I mean, you've got the logistics of moving a whole car. I mean, realistically, in a pickup truck, if someone's like, hey, we're having a LAN event that's drifting, and you had to pack up your rig and take it there, like, I'm sure you would do it, and it would fit in the back of a truck.
Yeah, but then if you wanted to do a whole production of it, like in either a studio or like an arena, have
Right.
multiple rigs, everyone's on the same type of rig.
Or
same
everybody is
equal
on different
equipment.
rigs. Why not?
True.
Bring your own rig, right?
BYOR.
Well, like, I don't know about you, but like I used to go to LAN parties and like pack up my PC and go to my friend's house and, monitor under one arm, PC case under the other, keyboard over my shoulder, and like go and play whatever Doom or, a bunch of different games. But yeah, there's one in particular and it just completely escaped me that I used to play. It's going to bug me. Anyways, but yeah, like why not? Or like, PRI, right?
Yeah.
You do a giant in real life sim racing event. It was literally all weekend.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way I would look at it is kind of like I'm thinking of it more like comparing it to like a Counter-Strike LAN.
Right.
Versus like because technically you could get away with doing just a 2-rig thing where the 2 people battling are the only 2 people on the rigs at the same time.
Yeah.
But then you've got a lot of downtime in between where you're switching cars and switching people, switching setups. You would
need 4 at minimum. Because then like as one set finishes, the next one goes in, they can warm up, make their adjustments, or like, let's say your profile, like you send your profile in ahead of time and then they just load that and then that's easier. But I would think doing like 8 and doing it as like a multiple top 8. Like let's say you do 4 top 8s and then it's like your cumulative score at the end of that would be the way I could see it happening.
Yeah, because that's how VDC does it, especially like qualifying. It's in groups of 8.
Yeah. So, 8 rigs. Not that, like, I've seen 5 and 6 rigs at FD in the back of a transport.
Yeah, it's possible for sure. But yeah, I think that something like that is where I think sim drifting will get a bigger boom in viewership.
Okay.
It's kind of where you can see the reality side of things.
It's funny though, because realistically now, like to go and watch it on Twitch is significantly easier than having to go somewhere to go do it, right? Like to go watch it. So like I would think in theory, watching it on Twitch is actually a lower barrier to entry. But I'm wondering if there's something about being there in person, at the event with other people that makes the difference.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting.
Yeah. Like I used to watch, it's going to be kind of I don't know if you ever played Apex Legends, but like my son and I were like obsessed with the game, and it was once again like kicked off over COVID. And we used to watch like the Apex Legends Championship because they did it like, I think every 6 months. Yeah. And like, we would go and watch that, like not physically in person, but like we'd know when it was on, we'd sit and watch it, put it up on the TV in the living room and like go watch even the qualifiers and stuff. Like I know friends that watch all the League of Legends tournaments and Dota tournaments and things like that. So it's like, and I think it was Dota 2 had like the largest online viewership of a sporting event ever. And like, that's a game that most people have never heard of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's.
So like, it's there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. There's so many different ways that it could kind of be like that. I think
you bring back like what they used to do for gaming tournaments, where it was like a rig and an activation that would go to major cities, right? Do you remember this back when we were kids, where it would be like, okay, here's one for you, like Beyblade. Beyblade would have a rig that would go to different cities and you would play a mini tournament at that city. And then if you won, you then got like flown out to the nationals to then go and compete there. But like an actual rig would come around to do all the different qualifiers.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So think like Sim Magic builds a transport truck. It has 8 rigs in it, right? And like you do a massive qualifier, and then it's like the top 8 that qualified the highest. they go head to head, and there's the 8 rigs there, and they can practice in between or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's a local event. You could do it in a parking lot and have a big screen up, and everybody sits and watches it. And then you have like a, we go to Vegas, we go fucking BattleBots Arena or something and go do it there.
Yeah.
All right, Sim Magic, jump on it.
Do it.
Do it, yeah. But like even if it was like the top 8 from around the country, you have 8 stops, whoever wins it goes to it, and then they compete against like 8 FD drivers.
Yeah.
Because there's at least 8 of you that drive sim consistently. That would be an absolute nightmare for people to go against.
Yeah. I would have to, but then you've got variables like, okay, are the rigs going to be single monitor, triples, VR? You're going to have the option for all of them.
Right. I think you could build triple with a VR option, because you could run a single if you choose to.
Yeah.
You can have a triple and decide to run a single. So you have triple monitors on all of them with a VR option.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's,
Come on, Sim Magic.
this is frying my brain.
Sorry, dude. Sorry. I think, I don't know. I have talked about it before. I just think Sim is very much the next, I think the best drifter in the world right now. I mean, this is even going at James Dean, is probably some kid in their basement that no one's ever heard of. That is just absolutely crushing lobbies. And like maybe within the sim drifting community, they're sitting there screaming, going like, yeah, we've got this guy. He destroys everybody. Maybe he doesn't compete that often, but is like one of the best, or is the best driver in the world, but has no ability or no means to drive in real life.
Yeah. Or if they do, it's only at a grassroots level.
Right.
Like, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the average score for qualified, like for VDC drivers to qualify last year was around 90.
Yeah.
It's like a 90-point run. If there are some rounds where I think the cutoff was 93.
Yeah, I believe it.
Like,
I know even when I was a little more into it, like we were seeing 98s and 99s pretty regularly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the last couple of years, it's been between like Alan Hines and Zach O'Sullivan,
Yeah.
and those dudes are nuts.
Alan's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and then Zach, you who used to spot for Literal, he's started driving IRL now, and he's got his own E36, and
Oh, good.
just right out of the gate, as soon as he got it on track, was instantly ripping, dooring people in tandem, like.
Yeah.
Like it translates almost instantly.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's always going to be a bit of a learning curve from it, but like if that can get you to second base, then perfect, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. It's gotta get FD back on a sim event. I know there's lots of talks. I know we were close. I thought
we were supposed to have one, I think. And then obviously logistics of doing all of that.
Let's do it over the winter.
It's tough. Yeah, I think that's going to be the best time.
We got time.
Well, yeah, everyone's got time. It's a lot easier for everyone's schedules to line up together.
I think that would provide a good, because like, dude, I mean, even like Virtual Drift Masters has some pretty decent viewership. The battles are nuts. Like, I mean, I think the FD one would be good. I think too, it would, a lot of the drivers who may not do as well in real life would absolutely crush. Like, I think Andy, like Ryan, like drivers who have struggled, would just come in and start mopping the floor with people.
Yeah. I mean, Ryan's even won VDC before.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
He's won a VDC round.
Yeah. So,
which I think is significantly harder to do than winning an FD round.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and there's less mechanical issues you're dealing with. I think so much of it, like, not, I don't want to get into the RB talk. I'll probably have him on again soon. So maybe I'll get into it with him there. But like, you're just not dealing with that. As long as the PC is good, the internet connection's good, I mean, obviously there's the mechanical of the sim, but like those seem significantly more reliable than a Pro FD card. So
yeah, there's significantly fewer moving parts.
Yes, exactly. A lot less going on. There's no giant, contained fire that powers everything. So yeah, just
no explosions happening.
No,
right in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it could happen. I'm sure there's been recalls on machinery before when it comes to sim, but you hope it's not happening like that.
Yeah, don't want any graphics cards catching on fire.
Yeah, it's not what is it? Was it the 3090s that were doing that?
I think so. Or
Yeah.
no, I think it was the 4090 with
The
but
pin
if you use the
adapter.
wrong cable, yeah.
Yeah, they had like a crazy ass adapter for it.
Yeah.
That like it wouldn't plug in correctly, and it would like bend just a bit, and it would short out.
Yeah. Luckily, I've got a 4090, and before getting that, I made sure to not have those issues.
Nice. Yeah, that's. I'm sure that thing pumps off a lot of heat, though.
Yeah, I've got, I think, 12 fans on my PC case,
Oh Jesus.
and then the two
Yeah.
or three that are actually on the graphics card itself.
Yeah. I remember those were pretty heat intensive units back in the. Yeah, I mean they're still obviously very relevant.
Yeah, and they're like that big.
Yeah. I can't remember what I put in this. I want to say a 5080 Super. I've never gone 90 series. Like I had a 2080 Super in my old rig. I think I don't know. I have to go back and look. I built it this time last year.
Yeah, I had a 2080 Super, and I had that PC from 2018 until I still have it. I just don't. It started blue screening on me.
Oh, I
And
got
I
you.
built this one at the end of 2023, I think.
Okay.
It's like about this time in 23.
Nice.
And yeah, this thing is a tank.
Yeah, mine's currently running the TV in our living room. So my 2080 Super one is. I do need to build a sim rig and then just like set it up in front of the TV. I'm sure my wife would absolutely love that, but
Yeah, it's fine. Just put it on wheels. You'll be all right.
yeah, I mean, honestly, like this spot would be the best for it. I just need to like plug everything in because like I've got the ultra wide there, but
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I gotta make time. It's not find time, it's making time.
Yeah.
But I've relinquished myself that I'm never going to be a competitive driver, so I'm not that worried about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's fun anyway.
yeah, exactly.
Especially during the off season when I feel like sim driving picks up a lot more in the off season too.
Yeah, right now is kind of like the weird in between time, but in the next month, like that's when shit gets great. Once like Black Friday's done, and then like like Christmas holidays are coming around, no one's doing anything at work. Like that's prime sim drifting season.
Yeah, and that's when you'll start seeing servers just absolutely packed.
Yeah, especially after like Black Friday deliveries, because then it's like everyone's got new rigs and new setups and work slow and yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I want to go test this out.
Yeah,
Or,
exactly.
Or even the dudes who are like up north when they get snowed out are like,
It's already
I wanna
happening.
drive, but
Yeah, it's already snowing up north. Don't worry about that. But sick, dude. Well, yeah. I mean, we just cranked out another 2 hours pretty quick.
yeah.
So yeah, always a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, any other fun stuff, cool stuff coming up? Anything you need to plug or want to plug before we wrap up?
Just nothing really, just the socials usually. Everything is at Nick Noback. Yeah, just gearing up for, I'm not sure when we're going to post this, but
It's going up soon. It's going up Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we'll be at SEMA in the next couple weeks and
Sweet.
time to get steps in.
Yes, fair enough. It's a good 20,000 step day when you go to SEMA.
Yeah.
Nice thing it's on carpet though.
Yeah, I think I average 25,000 a day.
I 100% believe that. Do you want me to throw your gamer tag in there?
No.
No. All right, got it. All right, I'll keep that one off.
I think in this off season I am going to start streaming a little bit more frequently. So
Do it. That'd be sick.
yeah, I set up a Twitch. It's just twitch.tv/Nick Noback. I'll just, gaming with friends, some Assetto stuff, some CarX, Peak, whatever.
Sweet. All right.
So-
I'll make sure to plug that one in the description. So sweet, dude. Well, I appreciate your time, man. This is it was fun catching up and kind of getting your take, and hopefully, just like many other episodes, we have solved drifting.
Yeah, hopefully. There's always something to fix.
Always something to do.
It's just the nature of drifting.
Yeah, exactly. It just means we care. We just want it to be better. Always be better.
Always.
But Sick, dude. Well, thank you again for coming on. For everybody listening and watching at home, please make sure to check out all of Nick Noback's socials. Check him out on Twitch as well. That's going to incentivize you to get on there.
Yep.
So, and yeah, we'll catch everybody next week. Thanks again, dude.
Thanks.